こんにちは皆さん、お元気ですか? Hello, how are you? Today grammar video number 87, we're going to learn some words of the grammar. We will see the difference between direct object and indirect object and how to use in Japanese. The English word direct object, we say in Japanese 直接目的語 because 直接 this means directly, direct, 直接。目的 it means purpose or object or goal. Go, it means the word. So 直接目的語 you can translate like direct object. Let's think of this sentence. I buy a book. So I buy what? What do I buy? In this case, this what? This is direct object. I buy what? A book in this case. In English, the sentence order is the first, the subject, the noun, and the verb. I buy. And the last one, in this case, a book. This is the direct object. But Japanese sentence order is quite different. The first, subject. And the last part is the verb. And between subject and the last part of the verb, there are all other things. For example, in this case, like I, a book, buy. This is going to be the Japanese order. And there's a rule in Japanese that after the direct object, we need to use this particle wo. But we pronounce o, but you must write wo. So in Japanese sentence, when I want to say I buy a book, I must say like this. I, a book, wo, buy. So in this case, 私は本を買います. But in many occasions, 私は you can omit it because we know you are talking about you. So 私は you can omit it. 本を買います. So in Japanese, when you see something を with this particle, then it means this something is always direct object. Other thing, direct object can be the subject of the passive sentence. It means someone bought a book. This is the active sentence, the normal. But in this case, direct object is the book. I can change to the passive sentence. A book was bought by someone. In Japanese, it's all the same. But anyway, now I'm not going to explain it. But in the future, I will talk about the passive sentence. There are two kinds of objects. One is direct object that in Japanese we need to put wo. And the other one, indirect object. We say 間接目的語. Well, you don't have to remember this word, but I show you now. But you just know it's important to know there are direct object and indirect object. Indirect object in English, it is like for whom, to whom, for what, to what. I bought a storybook for my grandchildren. In English, I, subject, bought a verb. And I bought what? I bought what? I bought a book. So, book, the storybook, this is going to be the direct object. And for whom? For whom? For my grandchildren. This is an indirect object. In Japanese, just after indirect object, we must put the particle ni. 孫, grandson, granddaughter, grandchild, grandchildren. 孫. 絵本, storybook, story illustrated book. Because 本, this is book. And 絵, it means picture or drawings, illustration. So 絵本, storybook. In Japanese, usually the sentence order is the first indirect object, ni, and direct object, wo, and verb. This is the normal order. Of course, you can change it when you want emphasize something. But usually this order to ni and wo and the verb. 孫に絵本を買いました。孫に絵本を買いました。All the verbs in English and also in Japanese that have the direct object, that is transitive verb. Transitive verb in Japanese, 他動詞。動詞 means verbs. This し is the grammatical word. どう this comes from the verb 動きます to move. So the 動詞 is the verb. And 他 is その他、他。It means the other things. Because this 他動詞 transitive verb needs verb but other thing. This other thing is the direct object. In transitive verb, 自動詞 this 自 is 自分 myself, oneself. So this verb, it is okay, only oneself. This verb doesn't need any direct object. As today we are going to study about direct object and indirect object. It means all the verbs that we are going to see today is 他動詞 transitive verb. So the verb 買います to buy, this is transitive verb. To buy what? 買います so transitive verb. Today I'm not going to explain more about intransitive verb because this is more difficult. But when the time comes, I'm going to explain you with lots of examples and in really in detail, maybe not only one video, many videos about intransitive verbs. But in the future, Mr. Yamada gave an apple to Miss Hayashi. The verb that we're going to use is あげます to give, あげます. Subject は someone に and this is indirect object, someone に something or this is direct object あげます。山田さんは林さんにリンゴをあげました。山田さんは林さんにリンゴをあげました。Señor Yamada got a necktie or received a necktie from Miss Hayashi. Necktie, we say in Japanese, almost the same. Necktie. The verb that we're going to use is this one, もらいます to receive, to get some presents like this. Well, subject は to someone に something を complement, direct complement something をもらいます。But this verb もらいます here in direct object you can use に or also から someone から。But now to avoid the confusion I'm gonna use with に okay? 山田さんは林さんにネクタイをもらいました。山田さんは林さんにネクタイをもらいました。林さん got a ring from Mr. Yamada. Ring, we say 指輪 ring. 指輪 指 it means fingers. 輪 this is circle. So circle here in the finger. This is 指輪。林さんは山田さんに指輪をもらいました。林さんは山田さんに指輪をもらいました。I want to send a small parcel to my daughter tomorrow. At first, let's think in English. I want to send a small package. I want to send what? What do I want to send? So, small package, small parcel, this is going to be the direct object. Do you remember in Japanese, direct object, wo, this particle wo. I want to send a parcel to whom? Here, this is indirect object. To whom? To my daughter. So my daughter is going to be the indirect object. You remember, in Japanese, we need to put ni just after indirect object. Indirect object, ni. So my daughter, ni. Now let's think about the structure, the order. At first, we usually put when. When. In this case, tomorrow. So this when at the first, and then the subject, and after indirect object. To whom? Ni. And direct object. Something. Or, and in the last part is the verb. The vocabulary. Tomorrow, we say 明日。明日。daughter, 娘。娘。and 小包, small parcel. And if you write in hiragana, please be careful. ず, this one, not with さしす tenten, but with つ tachi つ and tenten. 小包。小包. If you want to write this つ and tenten ず in the mobile or in the computer, you must use not with zu, because zu it's gonna be さしす and tenten. But つ and tenten you must use with du, abc du. The verb to send, 送ります。送ります。To whom, someone に something を送ります。Do you remember how to change this 送ります to I want to send? I wanna send. Because 送ります I'm gonna send. But I want to send without this ます then 送り this is the root of this verb 送り and I add たい送りたい送りたいです I wanna send 送りたいです明日娘に小包を送りたいです。明日、娘に小包を送りたいです。I'm gonna cook for my friend. Well, here, for my friend, this is gonna be indirect object. 料理 cooking dishes, meal, 料理 and to prepare meal, 料理を作ります because 作ります this is transitive verb to make or to prepare in this case 料理を because this is what the direct object 料理を作ります to prepare the meal to cook 料理を作ります友達に料理を作ります友達に料理を作ります I must give some water to flowers. 花 flower or flowers. And here I must give some water to flowers. So to flowers, this is indirect object. So in Japanese, we need to put に 花に water 水 水 and we say 水をあげます to give some water. And this 水をwhat do you give? So 水 in this case direct object. So in Japanese we need to put を the particle を水をあげます And do you remember the obligation form? I must give some water. Not only あげます to give. And we must think of ない form あげない because this is the second group. Without must あげない second group. And I add あげなければなりません I must give or あげないといけませんあげないといけません花に水をあげなければなりませんあげないといけません花に水をあげなければなりません花に水をあげないといけません。 I'm going to remind you the grammar that we studied the last video in number 86. It means, before I go to bed, I close the windows. Before going to bed, we need to use this 寝ます, this verb, 寝ます, to go to bed. This is the second group. And we must change to the dictionary form. 寝ます without mas, and we add る, 寝る. This is already dictionary form of 寝ます. 寝る, 寝る. And 寝る前に before going to bed. Window, 窓 or window, windows. 窓 with this 感じ、窓。閉めます the verb to close. And I close what? What do I close? So 窓 in this case window, this is going to be the direct object. In Japanese we need を the particle を just after 窓。窓を閉めます。I close the window. 寝る前に窓を閉めます。I borrowed a book in the library. Library, 図書館。Library, 図書館。And after this is a place. So, 図書館に or 図書館で. Which do you think is correct? Well, it depends on the verb that we're going to use. And here, I borrowed a book. Borrow, 借ります。This is the action verb. In this case, action verb, we need to use place で。図書館で。Because this, the last verb is the action verb. If I want to use 図書館に, in this case, the verb must be just like います、あります。The existence. There are many books in a library. 図書館に本がたくさんあります。book, books, 本. The verb to borrow, 借ります。This is group 2. This is irregular one, group 2. 借ります。In the past tense, 借りました。But what did you borrow? What? So in this case, 本, the book. This is direct object. 本, direct object. So after direct object, we need the particle を。本を借ります。In the past tense. 本を借りました。図書館で本を借りました。図書館で本を借りました。By Friday, I must give back this book to the library. Friday, 金曜日。Do you remember まで and までに？金曜日まで。till Friday. Till Friday. Anytime till Friday. But 金曜日までに This is the limit time. 金曜日までに by Friday. This is the last chance. 金曜日までに by Friday. Before Friday. The verb to return, to get back. 返します。返します。What do you get back? What do you return? So what things? In this case, the book. So 本 book. 本返します。And in Japanese, the direct object, and we need the particle を。本を返します。I get back a book. I must get back. So this is obligation. And 返します. This is group 1. It means without must 返し. Here, this is she sound, she. And I must think of knife form. The sound of あ。さしすせそさ。返さなければなりません。I must give it back. を返さないといけません。I must give back the book. You know, 図書館 is library. But now, I must give back a book. To whom? To whom are you gonna give back? To the library. This is not person, but anyway, this is indirect object. 図書館. Because I must give back to the library, not in the library. So, in this case also, indirect object, in Japanese we need to put ni. So here we're gonna use 図書館に金曜日までに図書館に本を返さなければなりません。本を返さないといけません。金曜日までに図書館に本を返さなければなりません。金曜日までに図書館に本を返さないといけません。If you don't remember very well about あげます、もらいます、you can watch my grammar video number 19. Today we learned direct object and indirect object. In Japanese, after direct object, we need to use this particle を and after indirect object, we need to use this particle に. Now a quiz time with 5 questions. The first 2 questions are the dictation and also you must answer these dictations. And the last 3 is going to be the translations into Japanese. So let's get started. 1番目。あなたは誰に何をあげたいですか？あなたは誰に何をあげたいですか？あげたいですか？あなたは誰に何をあげたいですか？ 2 番目。誕生日に何をもらいたいですか？誕生日に何をもらいたいですか？もらいたいですか？誕生日に何をもらいたいですか？ 3 番目。This is going to be the translation into Japanese. My mother reads a storybook to my younger brother every night before going to sleep. 4 番目。Tomorrow I wanna make a birthday cake for my grandson. 5番目。最後です。My elder brother is teaching English in the university from last year. I hope you can understand about direct object and indirect object. And the verb that has these objects is called transitive verbs. 他動詞. If you think this video was useful for you, please don't forget to give me like. And also if you have any questions or some kind of doubts you don't know very well about it, then you can write in the commentary below because I'm gonna read them all. If you can share my videos with your friends, that can help me a lot. Please do it. And if you didn't subscribe my channel yet, please do it too. いかがでしたか？今日は文法の勉強をしました。そして目的語について詳しく説明させていただきました。目的語がある動詞は他動詞と言います。そして目的語には2つの種類があって、直接目的語というのと間接目的語があります。日本語ではそれぞれ使う助詞が変わりますよね。直接目的語の場合はこの助詞のを使います。そして間接目的語の後にはにを使います。このビデオが気に入ってくださったらぜひチャンネル登録といいねボタンお願いいたします。それから私のビデオを友達に紹介していただけたら本当に助かります。ぜひお願いいたします。ではまた次のビデオでお会いいたしましょう。じゃあね。